Thank you for listening. If you want to know more about us and our services, please visit our website at www.wsk9co.com.
Today we're going to talk about the word or the command go and how you can use it, but also how it can turn bad on you. And the reason why I want to talk about go is kind of a funny reason. As I was driving this morning and working dogs, was I thought about one. I have two very favorite Dr. Seuss books, and the one is Go Dogs Go. And the other one is, Oh, the Places That You'll Go. And I was never introduced to those as a child. It was later on in my corporate career that I actually got those books. So I think go is a good word, but it also can be turned into something bad. So, Michelle, how would you or how do you use go with your dogs or even just teaching?
I use go for a couple of things. If we're ever, like this weekend, we'll just use this weekend as an example. We went camping and there was a ton of other dogs around and stuff. And if my dogs ever got into a weird situation that I didn't like, it was, come on, let's go. And so it was, let's go, let's move, let's keep everybody moving. So I use it that way. I also use, when I want them out of my space, I say, go out of the kitchen. That being said, I always use go that they're still with me, if that makes sense. I don't want them to ever be disconnected from me, but it's go is let's physically keep moving or just get out of this space.
Yeah. And Shannon, do you use go with Louie or other dogs in the family?
No, I haven't ever used go. I say go in things, but it doesn't mean go away, I guess. Yeah. Because to me, let's go means come on with me. We're doing something fun. Yep. So go away from me, go out of here. Mm-hmm. I don't ever use.
Yeah. It's kind of a funny word, and it's a word like no that we as trainers use no as a redirective or a connective word, and that's same with go. But two situations that happens a lot out there is people will take their dogs to the dog park, and their dog wants to be around them, and they keep telling them to go. Like, go away, go play, go. And so they're sending their dog away and giving permission for the dog to be away, and then they don't know why their dog doesn't come to them when they call them, because, well, you've told me to go away. You get kind of disgusted a little bit why, the dog's not going away to play when they don't really want to. And so that's one situation. The other situation is how annoyed people get because their dog follows them around the house. And I just want them to go away. And I'm not sure where you want your dog to go away to, because you still want them a part of your life. And so teaching go is kind of a backwards way of thinking of go does not mean go dogs go. Go away, go do something else. It's just get out of my space. And I started using it in training with, one with the herding dogs when they get down and start stalking on the trail, that you teach a go as a motion word, keep moving. Dogs that get really stiff or in a bad situation, keep moving, go, get past something. But I'm going to go with you, not you go away from me. And so I started using it there, and then also having two super hairy German Shepherds, and you're all dressed up, and they want to lean against you to have a coat of hair before you leave. I'll tell mine to go. So it's just creating some space away from me, but I never want them to disconnect. And so it's just, give me space. Don't just go be a dog type situation. Michelle, how have you seen it used in a bad way or a negative way that the dog is confused?
Especially, like you said, with the dog park, stuff like that, like go away when the dog just wants to be with you. I see it a lot in homes, like when people are cooking and stuff like that. They just want the dog to go away, but they also want the dog to disconnect. And that is so confusing to a dog. It doesn't make any sense because you're no longer giving them any information. So they'll send them outside or something, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing to put your dog outside, but it should be just be putting them outside. It shouldn't be like, go away.
Shannon, how can you see that through a dog's perspective where using go could be a bad thing?
Well, the dog is connected to you and looking to you for information. You're the leader, and you have to tell them what to do all the time. So they always want to stick with you because you're going to protect them, you're going to feed them, you're the source of fun, and if you're telling them, go away, be away from me, then it's like you're ostracizing them from that relationship, kind of, which is damaging,
right?
Because they have a pure love to be with you because you're the source of everything in their world.
Right.
And so I think it's better to redirect them to give them a job to do when you don't want them in your space. So, for example, if you're cooking, you can have them go to a place that's around the kitchen, maybe put their bed just outside of the kitchen so they can be on their bed, still watch you to get information, but be out of the space of where you're worried that you're going to trip on them or bump them or whatever the reason is that you don't want them in the kitchen. Yeah. So it gets them out of your space, but it doesn't break the connection that they have with you.
Yeah, yeah. So they can still, they understand that's their job while you're in the kitchen doing whatever it is that you're doing. And another situation that I've seen people try and, shuffle their dogs away, and we don't perceive it as sending our dogs away to something bad. But if you look through the eyes of the dog, I go into the vet clinic and we sit down in the room and then they need to take your dog out, and a lot of people will say, go. And that's pretty scary to send your dog into that, where you're condoning that disconnect to go into something that, a dog doesn't know that because they're getting poked with a needle that this is for their health and goodness. They just associate it to pain or scariness, where if you just allow things to happen, that they get to, let the technician or the veterinarian say, come on, instead of you trying to send them away from you. Is a better way to use that word instead of sending them away into another group that they don't know or there's pain associated to leaving. So, Michelle, how would you start by teaching go?
I guess it depends on if we're talking about go out of the kitchen or if we're talking about let's go. It's funny, as you were talking about this earlier, I thought it was really interesting that the way we're talking about go being negative is the exact way I use it. I just use it in the right way. Yeah. So, like, for instance, when we were camping, let's go is more of actually a come command. But it's not a come here. It's like it's come with me. So let's go. And I don't even know if I really ever taught that, if it was just something, it was a motion that we did together. So I guess just don't. Physically go with your dog when you're asking that. Like, go, like, have them follow you. Go means we all go together. The whole pack moves together. With the go out of the kitchen, it was definitely a go to your place, like Shannon was talking about earlier. I don't really have beds right out of my kitchen, but they do have, it's where they actually eat and stuff like that. That's like their spot to hang out and stuff when we're in that area. So we talk go out there, and I definitely use more of body language than it actually was verbal. So it's more of a body blocking when they do come into the kitchen. I feel like that was more of, and when I say body blocking, I mean I'm actually blocking, not using hand motions, because then they were still connected to me without me actually like pointing them to turn around and be disconnected from me. It was more me backing them up and putting them in their place.
So it's something that comes supernatural when we're working the dogs and doing the dogs. Dogs don't necessarily want to lead the way in some ways, and so we always teach a go for going outside, to go potty, that kind of thing as well. And so I will take and kind of shuffle them forward with my hands or helping them go, let's go outside. And so I'm kind of not chasing them, but I'm supporting them from the back. And when I'm telling them to go, they hear me that I'm there and I'm with you. I'm coming. You don't have to take this world on by yourself, but it's kind of guiding them from the hind end to go. But you're with them. Like we go outside together. It's not, if somebody's standing at the door, it's come on, not go. And so teaching it just by shuffling, being in space and telling them to go, even go to your bed, you're going to teach a go away, but it's a directive word instead of go be a dog and don't be by me and I don't want you by me and I don't want you in here. It's not that we don't want them in there. It's that maybe your kitchen's small enough that you're going to trip over them and just it's not a good place for them to be at the time when food and stuff is being prepared. So when teaching let's go, and I've seen you do it in, like, you kind of get in the group. Like if your dogs are in a situation that they're nervous or they're going to get in trouble, that you're kind of in there and say, come on, let's go. And so they, you're stepping in as their leader and saying, follow me. Let's get out of this together. And so they understand that when you're not in the middle of that they understand that it's, I need to find you because we're going away. And so I've seen that a lot, and it's just sometimes you have to go in and take their collars to start teaching them what that is come on, let's go, and touch them so they know that you're talking to them and that we can get out of that situation. And using it when another dog is being more assertive and we don't want our dogs to feel like they have to defend themselves, getting in there and kind of blocking the other dog and helping them get out of the situation always helps your dog redirect and get disconnected and to you for safety. It's just like, we are the source of fun, the source of survival, everything. And that any word that we're using really should always be a connective word, even the word go. And so I would just challenge you to figure out how you can use go when you're training and what makes the most sense in your life, that go is a connective word to you and it's really getting out of a situation, not going away from you, and that you should never, ever, ever use go as a disgusted, get away from me, I don't like you, I don't want you following me around, because every time I back up, I trip over you. Eventually, if you trip over your dog enough, they're going to get out of the way and they're going to start reading what's happening. So your dog should follow you around the house, and you can tell them to go to get them away from your space so they can follow at a decent distance. So I challenge you to change up your thought process with go and make it a redirective word.
Thank you for listening. If you want to know more about us and our services, please visit our website at www.wsk9co.com. And as always, we urge you to get out and train.